Alrighty, so we have Merab Dvalishvili versus Cody Stamann. So for Merab, he has a 3.5 inch reach advantage. He's on a 5 fight win streak. He could easily be undefeated in the UFC. He could easily be 7-0. His first 2 fights in the UFC lost. Controversial finish in the Ricky Simone fight, and then controversial split decision loss in the Frankie Saenz fight. So could easily be 7-0 in the UFC, which is a very impressive record. Alright, so we'll break down the strike into these two. Alright, so for Merab, he throws a lot of feints. He likes to fight off the front foot. He will generally throw a lot of singular strikes, doesn't really throw too many combinations. When he's committing to something, like when he really commits and it's not just one of those, feints that he's popping out, he's either going to go for a big overhand right, a low calf kick, or it's going to be a double leg or a single leg. When he commits to something, it's generally either a takedown or a singular strike. You don't really have to worry about him following up with anything combination-wise. And a lot of his offense does come from the right-hand side, so it'll be the low calf kick or the naked overhand right. Cody Stamann, quite similar. He moves a lot on the outside, likes to use his footwork on the outside, feint a lot. He's cleaned up his striking a little bit. Used to be pretty wild, just kind of naked overhands and, stuff like that. It's mostly still that, but he'll mix in the jab these days, and he'll push the jab out a bit more than he used to, and now he'll kind of set up his overhand right a little bit better. He also has a nice lead leg teep to the body. That's probably one of his favourite strikes from the lower half. But, he can be a little uncomfortable on the back foot, and when you pressure him hard, which is what Merab's going to do, and he can be backed up to the fence quite easily, which is what Merab's pretty much going to look to do. He's going to look to feint him onto the fence and then work his wrestling. And Merab, he has great chain wrestling. He will grab the single leg, run the pipe, or look to foot sweep the rear leg. If you turn away from the single leg, he'll look to grab the body lock in a scramble, and then once he gets the body lock, he looks for that outside leg trip, inside leg trip. But yeah, Cody Stamann, he's a pretty decent offensive wrestler as well, has a wrestling background. I think he was like Division 2 NCAA or something like that. He has good timing on his reactive double leg, and so does Merab. Merab looks to proactively wrestle a little bit more than Cody Stamann. Like, he'll look to set up his takedowns, whereas Cody, a lot of his takedowns are the reactive double, so it's kind of opportunistic when he does use his wrestling. Merab, on the other hand, he'll look to set up his takedowns when the opponent's close to the fence. He'll look for that naked straight right, and then pretty much as you're moving laterally, either way, he'll look to shoot onto your hips with a double leg and then look to ground you from there, or just lift you and dump you in the middle of the cage, as he is wont to do. Cody Stamann, he has good takedown defense on the cage, so he has a nice hit the switch to reverse the double leg, and I could see him hitting that a few times on Merab. Cody Stamann is very hard to get down. Cody Stamann is also very good at catching kicks and looking to get the opponent off balance or even work for a single leg of his own. He's very good at catching the heel of his opponent when they do look for body kicks, teeps like that, so I think he will be looking for that against Merab, and it could be a very effective technique because Merab does throw a lot of naked kicks which have the opportunity to be caught. But yeah, if you do get Cody Stamann on his back, he does look a little lost, does look like he doesn't have the greatest bottom game, probably isn't used to being in that position too much. But yeah, just in the Aljamain Sterling fight and then the Jimmy Rivera fight, he didn't look too great off his back. Merab, he doesn't have the greatest top control, neither does Cody Stamann, but Merab pretty much doesn't look to control the posts or the post legs or the hips at all when he gets on top. It doesn't seem to be a focus of Merab's to obtain a lot of top control and really, control the opponent on the mat, look for submissions and ground and pound and all that kind of stuff. He seems to like the volume takedown approach a little bit more, and he seems to not be too interested in top control, which is fair enough. That's what he wants to do. That's fine. Alright, so how these guys win fights. So for Merab, he has great chain wrestling and he has God-given cardio. Like, the guy's cardio is insane. Can push a crazy pace. For Cody Stamann, he has good takedown defense, he has very strong hips on the double leg sprawl, and he has a solid chin as well. Just a very durable guy in general. how these guys lose fights. So for Cody Stamann, it's when he's unable to obtain takedowns of his own and he's forced to strike with the opponent, because generally he will lose the stand-up battle because his stand-up isn't the best. It is improving, but, you know, he isn't going to win too many fights on the feet at the level that he fights at the moment. For Merab, he's not really a finisher, so he gives his opponents a little bit more time to, say, potentially knock him out, potentially submit him. Like we saw that in the, what's his name, Ricky Simone fight. You know, he was dominating that fight, and then Ricky Simone just caught him at the very end of it. And yeah, you could probably say the same about Stamann. He's not too much of a finisher either. Alright, so path to victory for these two. For Cody Stamann, look to catch one of those naked kicks that Merab throws, just to look to get him, put Merab on his back, and then, you know, look to control from there. Look to stay off the fence. You know, I know he's probably not going to do that, but look to stay away from the fence pretty much. For Merab, look to feint him back to the fence and then threaten the takedown often, throw a lot of feints on the feet. Just try and keep him on the defensive the whole fight. Don't really let him take the fight to you. You know, you're best when you're taking the fight to the opponent. Look to pump out the jab, keep the volume up on the feet, and yeah, just set a pace with your wrestling early, because I do believe you have the better cardio in this one. Cody's cardio is good, but, you know, Merab's on a different level. So for Cody Stamann, you know, potentially look for that straight knee after he throws the straight right near the fence, because most likely once he throws that straight right near the fence and it's not an overhand, he's going to be looking for that double leg. That's pretty much what he likes to do when he has his opponents close to the cage. And yeah, look for knees in the clinch. If, you know, you're in the clinch situation, look to be active in the clinch. Don't let him just control you. Look for some knees, look for some elbows, but obviously fight the underhooks and all that kind of stuff. How I see the fight playing out. So for Merab, you know, it's really hard to pick against him. Like the style that he brings into the octagon. The volume takedown guy who just never slows down. I imagine this fight will look a little bit similar to the Dodson fight, where Dodson was just kind of backing up, getting out-volumed, and just kind of being very passive because of the constant anticipation of the takedowns of Merab. I feel like that will be Stamann in this fight. Also, I don't think Merab has too much success with getting Stamann down. I think maybe he'll get 2 or 3 takedowns, but I believe most of it will be on the feet, similar to the Dodson fight, because I do think Stamann's takedown defense is, you know, one of the best in the division. You know, it's tough to bet against Merab, because even if Cody stuffs all the takedowns, he's going to be really defensive the whole fight with Merab's constant volume, constant feints, walking him down. So it's really hard to bet against the guy. Alright, let's have a look at the betting lines. Alrighty, so yeah, this is the line. It's about correct in my opinion. I think I favour Merab to win around 65 to 70% of the time. I do think he wins by decision a lot of the time. He's not a huge finisher, and Stamann is very durable, hard to finish on his own. So yeah, the bets I was looking at, they haven't come out yet for props, but I'm anticipating these lines. If I get them, I'll probably bet them. So Merab by decision, if I can get that at -135 or $1.75, I'll probably hit that. I think that happens quite a fair bit. If Stamann gets up to like $3.50, then I'll consider playing him, but at the moment, I think the money line is about correct. So I want a little bit of edge on Stamann if I am to bet the money line there. Go the distance prop. I'm guessing this will be pretty heavily juiced, and I believe rightly so. I think it should be around -500. And if it gets to -400, or if it opens at -400 or $1.25, I believe that's a solid parlay piece. I think that happens a lot of the time. I think it's a pretty much closest thing to a lock you can find. You know, a random Cody Stamann knee is the only way I could see this fight finishing. But yeah, that's my thoughts on the fight.